In today's episode of the Box Office Buds, we are talking about another movie that two hosts violently disagree on. Yesterday's show, Kellerman came on here and talked about his disrespect for Christopher Guest movies. 2 days ago, we talked about how all of us hated friendship and the internet commenters that hated us for hating friendship. Today, we are talking about a movie that really shouldn't draw any ire from anybody because it's relatively meaningless of a movie, but it is coming out this weekend. The Materialists, a romantic comedy about a love triangle between Dakota Johnson, Pedro Pascal, and Chris Evans. It is coming out. It is happening. It is out there. And Alex Alche, I know for a fact, a man who I have known most of my life. I've known you more than I haven't known you, and I know for a fact this movie is right up your alley, and you will be seeing it opening day, ready to cry your eyes out at what happens in front of you.
You better believe it, sister. I am very excited for this film. Celine Song, you are doing a great disservice not saying her name. If anybody has seen Past Lives, it is one of the greatest romantic movies I have ever seen. It is a phenomenal initial film into the... Kellerman, you have no heart. You don't have any say in any of this. We already know.
I didn't say anything.
It's fine. I saw your eyes. Say anything. I felt your disdain. It's fine. You're completely wrong. Past Lives is a stellar film.
Great movie. And great movie. It's not one of the best.
Early reviews. It's definitely one of the best. Early reviews for The Materialist are already doing quite well. Even IndieWire gave it a positive review. Can you even believe it? IndieWire doesn't do positive reviews. They do for Celine Song. I'm very excited for this movie. It's going to be very good. It's based on a very, very good book as well that is stellar. Pedro Pascal, Dakota Johnson, and Chris Evans. You got someone for everyone. They're all beautifully talented, beautifully attractive people. It's going to be great.
Sure. They are definitely beautiful, and this movie is definitely beautiful because there's not a lot of anything underneath that this movie is beautiful. In fact, the plot of this movie is a very successful professional career woman can't find love for herself even though she finds love for everybody else, and then she meets Pedro Pascal, a devilishly charming and rich man. Although he's a little bit old, will she fall in love with him? He's a little bit old, got some gray hairs. And then there's Chris Evans, her old boyfriend, who shows up and he's poor. Oh, he's really hot though. And which one should we go for? The rich guy or the rich old dude or the poor young dude? And then at the end, she realizes that materials aren't all you live for and you have to follow your heart. Spoiler warning. Listen, I was having a conversation. If you can't tell from the sarcasm in my voice, I think this movie's a pile of bullshit. But I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who had just seen Sinners and said that her only note was the female characters in Sinners weren't really anything more than just horny for the men at all times. And she wanted a little bit more life out of these characters. You can agree or disagree with that take, but her feeling on Sinners is how I feel about this movie. There is nothing below the baseline of what this crappy rom-com will be. And there's people who want to see that. I get that. There are Hallmark movies for everyone, but I see nothing from this movie that interests me in going to see it. Kellerman, you are outside of this world. You're not Alex Alche. You are not me. What do you feel about The Materialists?
I think that there has been something of a void in theatrical released films in the romantic comedy genre. I can't think of the last really successful one, at least in the last year or two.
It Ends With Us.
That really made a splash.
It Ends With Us made $345 million last year.
And as many movies comedy, as I see,
yes.
This is not a romantic comedy. This is a romantic movie.
It's billed as a romantic comedy on IMDb and otherwise. So
I think that the cast is the draw. Not the story, not the romance. The cast is exceptional. And they're not just really good actors. They're very hot. This will be Chris Evans's, maybe not his first role since his last Captain America performance, but
No, that was, you know what that one was? That was Red One.
Was it Red One? Right.
No, but it's his return to the romantic comedy world that he came up in.
Yeah,
don't forget Ghosted. Don't forget Ghosted with Anna de Armas.
He's done a few. He's done a few other ones. Gray Man, I think, was after the last Captain America. But regardless, it's not an action movie. It is a pure romance. One of my first favorite roles that he performed in was in London, a movie called London, which is a fantastic, more of a drama, I guess, than a romantic comedy. But he is very charismatic and romantic in it, and he's playing kind of a crappy person. So I think that he is someone who can sort of bring that humanity and make a movie good and elevate things. Pedro Pascal also. And Dakota Johnson, I don't really feel as much of a draw personally, but I do think that this movie will make its money back. The other thing is that it's incredibly low budget compared to a lot of the other things that are coming out in theaters. Its budget was under $50 million. And I think it could easily make $50 million, but obviously, in the grand scheme of things, when competing against Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon and Mission Impossible, it's surrounded by huge blockbusters, and I don't think it's going to survive against them.
But you see, you started that off with that we have a dearth in these types of movies, that they don't really come out anymore. And then you said it could make its money back and be deemed successful. That's where I kind of want to center this conversation around, because we used to have a real market for romantic comedies. When you go back to the 90s and early 2000s, I'm looking at them now. My Big Fat Greek Wedding, What Women Want, Notting Hill, The Proposal, As Good as It Gets, Runaway Bride. Those all made over $300 million worldwide. And in the past 10, 20 years. The most money from a romantic comedy, 2018, Crazy Rich Asians, if you want to call that a romantic comedy, 237 worldwide. Anyone But You last year with Sydney Sweeney, 218 worldwide. Then you have to go back to like Ticket to Paradise with George Clooney and Julia Roberts. That made 168. 2019's Yesterday made only 154. These movies don't make the money that they used to in the 90s and the 2000s. Is that because we don't have, say, a Julia Roberts to put on the front of this? Or is this market just not there anymore? Like, why don't these movies have the commercial success that the older movies had?
Streaming.
Yeah,
and streaming.
I think streaming service is a huge reason.
It's the reason.
It's not
the only reason.
It's not a theater experience. It doesn't need to be seen on a big screen to absorb.
How is it not, though? It's a date night. Like, you took your girl on a date to see What Women Want or whatever the movie was at the time.
But now you have
Hill.
Netflix
You did?
and chill. It's a
do
different
all
world.
that
It's a
from-
different world. Romantic comedies, if you want to watch a movie and get horny, you're going to want to do that at home.
But you still have, like, Alche, you have a kid, so you would get a babysitter, you go take your wife to a movie night, and instead of seeing What Women Want, Notting Hill, you're now seeing a Jurassic World, or you're seeing The Drop, like the horror movie that came out. Why is there still not that date movie market for these adult romantic comedies? It can't just be streaming, because they stream horror movies, they stream Jurassic Park movies. Like, why have these movies dropped off but other movies haven't?
I think it's a bunch of different things. I think streaming is a major part of it, because you're not spending $20 a pop to go see something that you can watch from the comfort of your home. I think streaming series have also taken a shape in the form of romantic comedies way more abundance than previously. I mean, in the last couple of years, there's been a barrage of great streaming romantic comedies all over the place. Not to mention, all these actors are in streaming series now and not doing these movies unless it's coming to streaming. I mean, Anyone But You was probably the biggest like stereotypical rom-com. Did decently, but like it also did gangbusters on streaming when it came out a few weeks later, and a lot of people waited to see it in streaming. But I do think a lot of it is too, there is no actor or actress, specifically actress. You're right. There is no Julia Roberts who is like doing 10 rom-coms in a row like her. She made her hay in the 90s doing rom-coms, and she was the darling of it, and we don't have that anymore. But my number one reason is definitely streaming.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, but not only. I said streaming for two reasons. One, I think that the theater experience is reliant on, gimmick is not the right word, but for me, it's like it's about what you can't have at home. It's about the amazing sound. It's about the communal experience. That's why horror movies are so popular, action movies, because everybody cheers when the hero wins, and everybody, gets jumps and laughs when there's a scare. Romantic comedies don't energize an audience quite in the same way. They don't lose as much of the impact on the home screen, but also the time between theatrical release and streaming has shortened to the point where it used to be, oh, did you see that new rom-com? No, I don't know when I'm going to be able to watch it. Now it's like, oh, I'll just wait a week and it'll be on streaming. Mm-hmm. I'll see it next week, And that I think has made a huge impact on how much money these sorts of movies make at the box office.
And this one is looking to not make as much money, just like the other ones. It's looking to be a fart in the wind when it comes to box office material. And Kellerman will sit there and go, "Oh crap, I missed it," which was my favorite quote Kellerman's had so far in all of the podcasts we've done here. Alche, do you want to make a final stand defense for The Materialist before we move on to the second subject we want to talk about?
I think it's going to be a good movie, and you have no soul, so it's fine. It's going to be an enjoyable rom-com. If you can't lean in to a rom-com experience, then you're not going to like the movie. Then get out of there. The movie's not for you. You clearly want something that it's not going to provide. So go watch Sinners again.
Who do you think, this is off the top of your head here, out of all the young actresses that are up and coming out there, who do you think has the best chance to be that next Julia Roberts? Who do you want to see in 10 rom-coms a year?
Jessica Williams from Shrinking. She is a phenomenal actress and can absolutely carry a rom-com. She was fantastic on the season of Love Life, and was an incredible love interest, and I would absolutely watch her in any rom-com.
Gosh, this is a really tough question because, I think that audiences now are looking at movies in a very different lens. And maybe that has to do with the rise of social media and people being closer or having a better understanding of how movies are made and things of that nature. But, Julia Roberts at the time, when you're talking about her being in, Pretty Woman, Notting Hill, all this run of romantic comedies, she was a fantastic actress, absolutely gorgeous, and somehow, at the time, believable as a regular person. And now, when you have Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell, it's neither of them are believably normal people. They're both exceptionally beautiful. That no one would believe that they would have a hard time finding a date or something like that. Nobody believes them as an everyman or every woman. And I don't know that there is an actress that embodies believability as a regular person, but also still has the star power, beauty, acting skill. I'm not sure that fusion can even exist in today's world.
I have a solution. Okay, let's move on real quick because I want to make sure the commenters who watch this show and watch our shorts are fed what they need here because I know they will enjoy my pick to be the next Julia Roberts. I say we go with Cynthia Erivo. Now, Materialist.
Ariana Grande could be it. She could do it.
She's great. She was awesome in Wicked.
Ariana DeBose could be that too. Ariana DeBose could be that too, but go on.
Who?
Terrible agent out of her. Let's move on to The Materialist. Centers around a love triangle, and it is the will they, won't they get together, which one will they choose? And I don't think Materialist has a chance to crack this list, but I did want to pick your brains because I have about 10 movies listed here. What are the top 3 love triangles in movie history? Alche, I know you love these movies. Love triangles, which one are you going with?
My Best Friend's Wedding is definitely number 1, hands down.
I have it on the list. I
don't know about number 1,
hands
but
down.
Sure. The moment I wake up.
I mean, it's phenomenal stuff.
Before
it's
I
so
put
classic.
on my makeup.
Julia
It's
Julia
great.
Roberts running
It's
through
great.
phenomenal
Cameron
stuff.
Diaz
It's
also
phenomenal.
in her prime.
It's great stuff. Great stuff.
One that I will Ixnay from the list, because I know as soon as we say romantic movie, all of you, especially our age, you have to perk up and hear this. The Notebook is not a love triangle movie.
Oh my
okay?
God! How dare you?
James
What are you
Marsden
talking
is
about?
not in the movie. Okay, that movie is about the couple. That movie is about two people, not a love
Who's she
triangle.
married to?
He is
Who's
just
she
an
engaged to,
opposite.
What
rather?
are you?
He's not in the
talking
movie.
about?
He's not a center point of the. It's not a love triangle. The love triangle needs to be a 3-person story. It needs to be A,
Hold on
B,
a
and C,
second.
and it's just an
What
A to
are
B. The
you
Notebook is
talking
not in the
about?
list. The Notebook's not on the list. It's not about James Marsden. He's
The Notebook
a
is
tertiary
number
character.
one with a bullet. She
He's a
created
tertiary
an
character.
entire life with one
Truly
man.
an insane
and
person.
He's a
then the
tertiary
previous
character.
man comes back. It's maybe the most classic love triangle story ever written.
Every scene you see from that movie,
calm
every
down.
poster, every picture, every image you see from that movie, James Marsden is not in any of it. It is a 2-person movie, not a love
That
triangle.
has
For a triangle, you
nothing
need
to
3.
do with
You need
anything.
3 sides. You need 3. He's not He's not in the movie.
How can you not? How
Okay.
can you? Someone needs to rewatch that
He's not in the
3-hour
movie, Kelvin.
where the entire first hour is Ryan
Yeah.
Gosling. The entire second hour is the other guy, and then the entire third hour is her deciding between the two.
He's not in the movie. It's not a love triangle. It is a
How can you
couples movie.
I'm so confused by you saying he's not in the movie. He's a gargantuan part of the movie.
Yeah, it is a love triangle.
He's
movie,
not
like,
not
no
in the
question.
movie. That's just
No question.
You can't say
No
he's not in the
question,
movie.
But no question. But let's move on to She's All That.
Well, it's just not a good movie, so I'm not. I
Yeah,
can't, I
it's
can't
not a
accept
good
that.
movie.
Get
I
out
loved
of
it.
here! You
Look,
guys are
it
insane.
had a very. It's a very. She's All That had a huge impact on me. It's this day and age very problematic, and also
Yeah.
it falls in. It created like the worst movie trope of like she takes off her glasses and suddenly she's hot.
She was very hot with the glasses on. I want to say I'm a huge
Well, I agree with
fan.
you.
Huge fan.
I agree with
Always
you,
have,
but-
always will be.
I don't think that it belongs on this list.
Great.
Can I go
fine.
to the
How
original
about,
love triangle movie? Can I go to the original love triangle movie?
You can try.
The
Out
Odd
of all the
Couple?
gin joints, in all the world, you walked into mine, Casablanca. It's a hell of a love triangle.
Gosh, it's so funny because I don't think of that as a love triangle movie, but obviously that is a part
I don't think of that as a
the
love
story.
triangle movie either. It's not a love triangle movie in my
How could you
heart.
possibly call Casablanca a love triangle and not The Notebook?
Yeah, The
So
Notebook's a
the
love
one- the
triangle
one-
movie.
What are you?
The one that I
talking
want on this
about?
list, and I'm a little bit nervous to say it, because every time I think of this movie, it makes me all warm and fuzzy inside. Because I remember the first time seeing this movie, the first time seeing certain scenes of this movie, and it was an integral part in Tony growing up, going from a boy to a man. Wild Things needs to be on this love triangle list.
Wow, that's such a good one. I don't think that
It's not
anybody
on
would
the
like
list,
it unless
but
they're
yeah, we all
between the
felt
ages
things.
of 14 and 18.
Come on.
but-
Yeah, we all
That's-
felt things. Everything was
that's-
tingly, but no, it's not a love triangle movie. No.
That's the
do you
that's
mean?
the
That
loveliest
certainly
love
is a love
triangle I've
triangle
ever
movie.
seen.
The loveliest love triangle you ever loved. No. I vote no. Bridget Jones' Diary.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Hard
It was on
no.
my list.
Hard no.
Your
Can't go on the
hatred for
list.
Bridget Jones. By the way, Bridget Jones.
Hold on a second. Hold on
Hold
a
on,
second.
hold on,
My
hold on,
hatred
hold
is
on,
not
hold
for
on,
Bridget
hold on,
Jones.
hold on. Bridget Jones, Bringing Out the Boy, was the last rom-com that could have been incredibly successful. It was incredibly successful internationally, and was not successful here because it didn't come out here. Regardless,
Thanks,
Bridget
Justin.
Jones' Diary
There
should absolutely be
is-
on this list.
Reality
Reality Bites needs to be on this list.
That's
Reality
a good
Bites needs to be
one.
on this list.
Classic Ben Stiller.
Oh man, I got better ones than Reality Bites. Let me tell you.
Go
all
on.
of mine
Say
are
them.
like all of mine are dramas.
Well,
Say
two
them.
that are very much more hot and heavy. Vicky Cristina Barcelona, which I think deserves to be talked about, and Y Tu Mama Tambien is another one that I think deserves to be talked about. Those are extremely adult, romantic love triangles, and I think are heavy hitters when it comes to the world of movie making. And I like them both better than I like Reality Bites.
I would take Vicky Cristina Barcelona off the list. But I am curious about what movie did you say again?
Y tu mama tambien?
I am very curious about Y tu mama tambien. I like that movie a lot.
Great,
I like that
great
movie a lot.
film. I don't know if it goes on my list of top rom-com or top love triangle movies. I will say, if we're going to put a Woody Allen love
We are not.
triangle movie
We are
on here,
not.
it
We're
would
not.
have to
We are
be
not.
either Annie Hall
We
or
are not.
Match Point.
We are not
Yeah.
adding Woody
Isn't
Hall
Vicky
to this
Cristina Barcelona a
podcast at
Woody
all.
Allen movie?
It is.
Is
Yeah.
it?
So if we're talking about Vicky Cristina
Yeah.
Barcelona, then we
Oh.
should also talk about Match Point or Annie Hall.
Match Point stinks. Match Point's my least
Match
favorite
Point
Woody Allen
stinks.
movie. Yeah, Match Point's my
Point
least favorite Woody
stinks?
Allen movie. As
Clearly you
the
never saw
consummate Woody Allen leading
Jade
man
Scorpion.
in on this podcast, Match Point stinks.
Oh
I
my
got some older
goodness.
ones. I got some older ones real fast that I want to throw out there. Indecent Proposal with Robert Redford. Can I Buy Your Wife for an Evening with Woody Harrelson and Demi Moore. We also have
Good
The
movie.
Graduate. Will he go for the mother or will he go for the daughter? The Graduate is a
I'll go with The
fantastic
Graduate.
love
I'll go with The
triangle.
Ooh. Yeah,
And
I
then
think The
there's
Graduate
also-
needs to be on there.
And then there's also Pretty in Pink, which is another very old school love triangle
Waters.
movie. But the last one that I want to bring up on my list, it's not a love triangle between three people. It is a love triangle between a man, a woman, and an idea. And it's love and basketball. Which do you love more? The game, the sport, or the woman or man in your life? Which are you willing to
I adore
sacrifice in
love
order
and
to get the
basketball.
other one?
I love Love and
Fantastic
Basketball.
movie.
I do not agree. We cannot include a man choosing between his career and a woman as a love triangle.
Oh, she's
doesn't
choosing
count.
the same.
It doesn't count. It's got a love triangle is between three people.
That is the beauty of that movie. It takes the love triangle trope and turns it on its head.
Great film.
But I
love that movie. But no, I need to throw out one that hasn't been mentioned yet that I think of as sort of the quintessential. It's a little bit more of a love square than a triangle, honestly, but closer.
Great movie, but no. Better play. It's a 4 for sure. It's a 4.
So right now we just have My Best Friend's Wedding. We need 2 more movies.
What did you say in that barrage of movies that you just threw
I
out?
can't
Say
believe
them
I
again.
can't believe you've stricken The Notebook from being on this list.
Indecent
As it
Proposal,
is,
The Graduate,
without question,
Pretty
the
in
number
Pink.
one.
The Graduate.
The Graduate needs to
there.
go on there. The Graduate is something studied in film.
The
school.
Graduate, and
You've
then
gotta
for me it's Reality Bites or The Notebook. I'm fine with either of those.
No love for Wild Things, huh?
No.
For me, it's between those three.
Wild
I would
Things.
include
is not
Wild
love.
Things in a potential.
Wild Things is not love. Wild Things is lust.
Ooh, that's a great distinction, Cheese.
Also, Kevin Bacon kind of messes up that whole triangle in that movie.
That's
As
true.
the
It's
fourth.
also a little bit of a square.
So then
There's a
we're
movie that I
torn
want to throw
between-
out, but I know that neither of you have seen it, and so it's immediately going to get rejected, and that's a movie called 3 Iron.
Haven't
Thank
seen
you,
it.
Kellerman. We're down between the third movie being between Reality Bites and The Notebook. So, producer Jones Wortham.
Has to be The Notebook.
The top 3 love triangles are My Best Friend's Wedding, The Graduate, and
Reality Bites.
Oh my god.
Woo! Can you believe it, Kellerman? Ethan Hawke made a list.
I love Reality Bites. It's a great film. Higher than The Notebook on the top 3?
I would have
Rom-
Bridget
I'm
Jones'
with you.
Diary over that. I would have Bridget
I
Jones'
agree,
Diary
but-
over
I
Reality
don't know.
Bites.
Tony, you've never seen Reality Bites. Don't pretend like you have. All right,
seen
and that's
Reality
it
Bites.
for this week of this podcast. Thank you all for joining us. As always, like, subscribe. Don't follow Tony Squares. No, please do follow Tony Squares. His content is fantastic. Survivor content every Saturday. See, I'm plugging you. All right, y'all. Till next time.
We are Audi 3000, Reality Bites Club.